Also, we still got Ezra Miller. That whole backlash thing with him choking that lady is
no
just
one
dead.
cares. Everyone just cares about Batman.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that's how it feels. You know? I'm like, his name has popped up a few times in videos since that happened, and I'm like, we're not going to address this?
Look, John, unless he did blackface 10 years ago, nothing's
That's
happening.
right. That's the new offense, and there's only one at a time.
Hello there, Reject Nation. We're going to watch today from Charlie's Emergency Awesome, The Batman 2021 and Michael Keaton Justice League crossover movies breakdown. And we'll talk about what he covers in this video afterwards. Just wanted to say, it's summer break right now. So you might hear some kids who are not practicing social distancing outside, because it's a lovely community here.
Very close quarters, very tight.
Yeah, they never shut up.
Nope.
They never shut up.
And it sounds like they've got a few animals down there as well.
Oh my God, I really hope we can hear them. What do you think about this Jenna Marble situation?
Oh, hey.
Topical, let's do this.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Batman video. There are a lot of questions based on the Michael Keaton news, him coming back as Batman.
I just finished Gotham.
Robert Pattinson.
Just put up my reaction today on Patreon.
Movie, what is canon, what is not, so we'll break it all down. We got some more details from Warner Brothers according to some of the trade publications yesterday. So there's a bunch of Easter eggs. It's not quite as complicated as it sounds. If you're new to the channel,
I don't know about that.
subscribe to get all the videos. We'll do a new Amazon giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and let me know which other movies you want Michael Keaton's Batman to cross over.
Definitely that one.
That's right. He's going to be in multiple upcoming DC movies. I'll talk about those through the video just because it's all part of Warner Brothers' plan to have this all made.
I want him in Phase 4.
They do have a plan for all this. First thing, number 5, Michael
Part
Keaton
of
is
the
coming
plan.
back as Batman while we also have them
Right.
launching a major new Batman trilogy with Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves. And we have Ben Affleck's Batman in the upcoming Justice League Snyder Cut, future Justice League crossover movies, and then future Batman spin-off movies with other characters like a live-action Batman Beyond movie. The future is Batman as far as the eye can see.
DC's just like,
Time to be
Batman, Joker,
fan.
Batman,
What's gonna
Joker.
be now is there's
That's
one
all we
Batman
can rely
actor
on.
going to cross over with the other DC characters and who's going to be in that next Justice League
Don't say
team.
that, Sean.
So surprisingly, Warner Brothers is
There-
actually
there'll be another
borrowing
crappy
from the
Batman movie
DC
someday.
Universe strategy in a rare move to connect everything and make it all make sense. Normally, it's the TV shows that copy what the movies are doing, but comic book movies and superhero movies have evolved to the point where fans understand weirder
Sector
concepts
2814.
and story twists that the comics have been trading on for 40 or 50 years, and it's all
What,
about the
dude?
multiverse. Marvel is taking its movies in the MCU in the exact same direction, take a hard left into the multiverse to keep things fresh and weird. So number 4, according to The Wrap yesterday, Warner Brothers' plans are that Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's Batman trilogy is still meant to be the future of the Batman character. It's their crown jewel of Batman in the movies, so to speak.
We'll see which one
To that
people like
end,
most.
They're giving Matt Reeves pretty much free rein to reboot the character
But I hope it
and
is.
creative for that franchise any way that he wants. So everything about the look and the feel of Batman, the tone, the setting, the context will be very different from the Zack Snyder-driven Ben
Yes.
Affleck Batman of the Justice League universe and the DCEU.
Right.
In order to give him a fresh start with the new actor and the new sort of Batman franchise, they're letting that new Batman trilogy exist off in its own bubble of continuity, separate from Justice League, the Snyder Cut, however you want to think about that line of continuity that started with the Man of Steel movie. One of Matt Reeves' previous statements was something like, yes, the movie is part of the DC comic book universe, kind of, in the sense that all
guys
the
should read that
characters
comic
exist
if you
as part
haven't.
of a single IP brand under DC Comics, but in reality, it's not meant to be connected to other movies. They're not going to be referencing Superman during the Batman movie next year. They're not going to be referencing the Justice League or anything like that. They'll just be talking about the Batman characters inside Gotham City. There's always the opportunity for them to change their minds about that in the future, but it's not meant to start out that way. And here's where we get to the multiverse, where it all starts to make a little more sense. Number 3, Michael Keaton is coming back as Batman in multiple new DC movies, starting with the Flashpoint movie. They're going to be filming that movie early next year. And to boot, he's also coming back as the older version of his Batman from the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movies. So they're canonizing the Burtonverse to the larger DCEU multiverse. Remember how I said the movies?
Michael Keaton does appear in here.
Crisis on Infinite
Kind
Earths
of.
did the same thing last year
Kind
with
of.
almost all the previous DC movies and TV shows that have ever existed,
Mm-hmm.
going all the way back to the 1966 Adam West Batman series.
With Robin.
They even had a cameo scene
Shark
from Burt
repellent.
Ward as
Yeah.
his version of Robin.
But the time for preparation is past. The crisis is now upon us all.
Holy crimson skies of death!
Most of you saw at least some of that, so you saw how they executed that. They just had short cameo scenes with a bunch of different versions of the characters from different movies and TV shows.
It was a
They
lot of
only had
fun.
A handful in each episode, but you get the idea. Everything is canon now.
Yeah, they
because
have
of the multiverse.
Alexander
The
Knox
difference
up
with
here.
The DCEU and the other
tying
DC
in the
movies
Burton
is that it's harder
and
to
Michael
say
Keaton
that
with the
of
photo.
the movie side of things until they literally have a multiverse scene like that in a DC movie.
Cool.
Like, you can't necessarily
Yeah.
say that Christopher Nolan's Batman is connected to the DCEU because of the multiverse until you actually see someone from the Christopher Nolan movies interact with someone from the DCEU movies. The Flashpoint movie with Michael Keaton's 1989 Batman will be the first official time they do something
Dude,
like
that's
that. But that's
great
then
Photoshop.
canonizing the Burtonverse. You can't necessarily say that every single DC movie is going to be connected now inside the DCEU. I'm sure there will be a lot of other funny multiverse references. Hopefully John Wesley Shipp gets a cameo scene. Hopefully Kevin Conroy at some point will get a cameo scene in one of the live-action DC movies. The version of Flashpoint that they're going to be doing for the Flash movie is going to be very different from the comic book version. Ezra Miller has spent more time talking about the movie in the context of broadening the multiverse than talking about the actual Flashpoint comic book story. Multiverse stories are very common for the Flash. They've been doing the multiverse with alternate versions of the characters of the Flash TV show for several years now. So even if you haven't watched that TV show in a while, you totally know what's going on.
This should be impossible now. It should be impossible now?
You don't know about the...
Oh my god, don't do this to me. I don't know about the what.
So number two, next big question. The main reason why they're bringing Michael Keaton back right now, instead of, say, using Robert Pattinson's Batman in the Flashpoint movie for a big crossover, is because of what I said before. They want to protect Matt Reeves from having to overcomplicate his Batman movie stories with the idea of the multiverse. But DC needs a Batman in its big Justice League crossovers. Batman is just too big of an IP to leave him out of these big Justice League movies in the DCEU. Ben Affleck has already said that he's done being Batman in the new movies. That's the whole reason why he said he passed the torch to Robert Pattinson. This is the clip of him on Kimmel talking about it last year.
You know, I tried to direct a version of it and worked with a really good screenwriter, but just kind of couldn't come up with a version that couldn't crack it. And so I thought it was like, you know, time to let someone else take a shot at it. They got some really good people, so.
As much of a bummer as that is, he is coming back to do additional voiceover dialogue for the Justice League Snyder Cut. But right now, that's it. And technically, that's not a new movie. That's an old movie that Zack Snyder never got to finish making, and now he's just finishing it. So as the Wrap, Deadline, Variety, all the other trade publications were saying yesterday, Warner Brothers' solution for having their crossover Batman in the future DCEU movies is just to do the older style Batman with Michael Keaton in a Nick Fury type of role. Someone to cameo and crossover in multiple movies, helping tie everything together, leading up to another big team-up Justice League sequel down the road. And because it's the multiverse,
There has to be
just
more of
because
a
they're bringing
specific
Keaton
reason
back
why,
doesn't mean
though,
that they're
Michael Keaton.
erasing the
Yeah.
previous DCEU movies. Those will still be canon. Ben Affleck's Batman will still be canon. But because Matt Reeves won't be done with his Batman trilogy for at least 7 or 8 years, however long it takes them to make 3 new Batman movies, and Warner Brothers will probably want to do their next Justice League movie before that happens, and they don't want to cross over with Robert Pattinson's Batman franchise during that trilogy, Michael Keaton's Batman from Earth 89 is just the solution to that problem. You need a Batman in that next Justice League movie, but you don't want to touch Robert Pattinson while they're finishing that trilogy. Pick up the bat phone and offer Michael Keaton a giant pile of cash to come back. And even though I haven't mentioned it yet, Michael Keaton is actually doing the exact same thing with his Vulture character in the Sinister Six team-up that they're building
Nacho.
in the Marvel movies and the Sony Spider-Man movies. So this isn't the first time that Michael Keaton has done this. He's actually going to be in the Morbius movie as his Vulture character from Spider-Man Homecoming next year. So it'll give you a good idea for what it's going to be like seeing his Batman pop up in a bunch of different DC movies. But since Warner Brothers is still saying that Robert Pattinson's Batman is the main Batman, I think that just implies that when Michael Keaton does show up as Batman inside other DC movies, they'll mostly be smaller cameo scenes. When they made the Nick Fury comparison, think about it this way. There have only been 3 Marvel movies, really, where Nick Fury was in most of the movie. Most of the time, he just shows up for a couple scenes, then goes away. And I'm also kind of expecting that when Michael Keaton's Batman does show up on screen with the other DC characters, most of the time he will not be wearing a Batman costume. He'll just look like old Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond. So number one, obviously, live-action Batman Beyond is the other thing the internet has been talking about. All of these
Please.
cameo scenes will be totally awesome to watch, and the thought of him in a new Justice League movie sounds amazing, but I still think that Warner Brothers' ultimate plan is to develop another new Batman franchise after Matt Reeves' movies with Batman Beyond. Sony is doing the exact same thing now with its Spider-Man movies. It has the main MCU Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland, Peter Parker, but it's also doing the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movies with alternate versions of Peter Parker and other Spider-Man, and it's also doing the Venom movies with Tom Hardy, former Batman movie villain. So obviously Warner Brothers wants to get to the point where they can capitalize on other Batman characters in the movies, and Batman Beyond is just one of the biggest, most popular characters that they've never tried in any of the big live-action movies.
I know,
It's
why
a totally
not?
fresh take on the character. My only hope for that is that they do wind up doing Batman Beyond in the movies, that they'll let Kevin Conroy cameo at some point. But everyone, let me know in the comments
As
below.
Terry
What do you want to do with
McGinnis.
Michael Keaton, Batman, Flashpoint movie.
Did my best young man
Brand
movie.
new Superman movie trailer that DC just dropped. I'll do a video for that later tonight. So as long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see that when I post it. I'll also name a giveaway winner when I post that. While you wait for everything, click here for my other brand new Michael Keaton Batman video, and click here to learn about the new version of the Joker that they're supposedly introducing during the new Batman trilogy. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.
Well, we've already covered a good amount of this before, but I guess the newest sort of perspective of anticipation, the fact of the multiverse crossovers. Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earths, it was really fun. I had a lot of fun watching that. They did have a lot of these like super duper quick cameos, a wide variety of appearances. They did tie in the Burton Batman to that. There was some like newspaper photo or something of Michael Keaton, and I think he's married to Selena Kyle in there, but you focus on the reporter Alexander Knox at one point. That's tied in, but it's making me wonder, like, how will they use Flashpoint as a way to really tie everything in? Because Crisis on Infinite Earth successfully managed to do a whole bunch of tying in movies and shows, and even Brandon Routh plays Adam on Legends of Tomorrow, and then was able to return as Superman as well on there, which was a whole lot of fun. You know, there's also the Nolan Batman movies, which haven't been tied in, and it's always been kind of cool that it's really its own thing. Like truly is its own thing. Charlie in this video is talking a lot about how they don't want to worry about that with the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman films, but if it's still under the DC extended universe umbrella, I feel like they're going to want to tie it in some way, aren't they? I'm not opposed to that. I don't see why that would be problematic. I could see for like a first movie really making it do its own thing, but eventually crossing over Robert Pattinson's into the Justice League would be cool. I just wonder if it'd be confusing for people, especially with the way we have grown accustomed to mashups, to team-ups, that if that Batman franchise is supposed to be the main Batman franchise, and then whenever they do another Justice League movie, wouldn't you be expecting Robert Pattinson's Batman to be the one that goes into that movie?
Yeah, that's the biggest question I have right now, and I feel like Flashpoint could easily straighten a lot of that out, but it does seem like they are in a weird, problematic place where they have this very solid future of a Batman trilogy planned, and then they also have whatever the current continuity is, which is apparently, especially if like the Suicide Squad is any indicator, it feels like they have a very fractured continuity at this point where they're just going to keep what worked and replace what maybe didn't work. And so I wish that the Pattinson stuff, like the Nolan stuff, could just be its own isolated universe, because partly, as excited as I am about multiverses and stuff, I also do like when some of these stories get to just have their own focus. But yeah, that's the biggest question to me, is if Robert Pattinson isn't supposed to be, you know, tied up into all the rest of the universe, are we then going to get a Justice League movie where it's Michael Keaton and Batman doesn't really fight that much?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know?
Like, that wouldn't be satisfactory.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna want to see Batman fight.
Kicking ass. Unless they bring in Batman Beyond before that new Justice League and make him the ass-kicking Batman.
See, what the thing that raised the question for me now, though, is they see that, you know, this Snyder Cut business was a good idea. Like they're already noticing that, you know? With their multiverse shenanigans they got going on, they could find a way to make the Snyder Cut, depending on how well that's received and how financially successful that is, make that more of the canon. Yeah. Because right now the word is it's not. It's just its own thing. Yeah. Right? Everything seems like it could be in this weird gray area. What is really its own thing? Yeah. Is any of this really its own thing? The only one thing I'm convinced is its own thing is that Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
Yeah, and even then, it could still not be forever its own thing.
Yeah, it's just right now that's the only one where I firmly believe, they don't have any plans to tie this into anything, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. With the Snyder Cut, with multiverses, I mean, maybe they could still have the one that Whedon took over be the canon, but then, in another alternate dimension, whatever, the Snyder Cut version is the other way that played out, you know? They could be doing that as well. I mean, everything with, like, the talk with Michael Keaton, I don't know, I guess I didn't really read into it that much. I thought it was just going to be a fun multiverse crossover because I saw Crisis on Infinite Earths. There was all this hype with what they were doing, and the main thing that they did was they tied everything together. Well, not everything, but a lot of the properties together, right down to Smallville. And even then, that Smallville moment was just a thing for Smallville fans. That didn't really contribute to the tale of it. They tied in the DCEU directly, the current movies, by having Ezra Miller's Flash appear. And that was a really great, very fun scene. And that was like the first time Ezra Miller's Flash is learning he's learning about the multiverses and stuff, I guess it's just like, which Batman are we going to end up with in the next Justice League movie? Yeah. And because, like, this whole thing with Michael Keaton being the Nick Fury, that's the terminology that's been throwing around. I can't wrap my head around why that's essential, or why we need the Tim Burton Batman to be the one to do it. It's like, don't you feel like you can kind of just do that with one movie?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it makes the most sense to me, obviously, to do some kind of Batman Beyond, or at least if he is to appear as a Nick Fury type character, I feel like a Batman Beyond is the proper circa to make that work. Because otherwise, it does feel like, well, we have multiverse options now, so who can we get? What about Michael Keaton? Let's go all the way back. Nostalgia.
I felt like they were just doing what they did on Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's like, I'm sure some of that multiverse bending will factor in very importantly to, canon down the road and to the immediate plot at hand for Barry Allen in that film. Michael Keaton, the thing that would excite me the most is a Batman Beyond movie. Like, that's the one you gotta do with Timothy Chalamet as Terry McKenna.
But that's the thing, is that sets you up. I guess that's the thing for me, is that prospect is exciting, because then I'm gonna go, we're gonna see Bruce Wayne as an old man and he's gonna get to be a character, whereas if he's Nick Fury, it's like Charlie pointed out, he's just gonna show up a few times, get everybody briefed, and I don't expect the lion's share of impactful and memorable character moments would go to him. And that's something that, especially, like, I get it on the one hand, because if you're gonna have any of the Batman actors return, Adam West is passed, Michael Keaton makes the most sense to me, because I think he is the most blanket, beloved, like, definitive Batman casting that you could bring back and have everyone be that excited about. I just don't want this to be a thing where it's like, well, we can do it, why not?
Well, I think it has to do with, the fact that Crisis on Infinite Earths already tied in Batman 89. Ben Affleck is kind of in this strange Batman purgatory land.
Hey, the Snyder Cut does really, really well, and his Batman's just, like, way different and even better in that movie. I wouldn't ever rule out the possibility of him coming back in some degree, especially with all this multiverse business.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if the Michael Keaton cameo thing, it could be read into a little too much. It's like, is he an actual supporting player, as these reports are talking about, or will it just be a fun few minutes with the guy,
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't mind. Like, I wouldn't mind that, but if you're gonna bring back Michael Keaton as a pivotal character, Batman Beyond's the way to do it. Like, that's the version we should, and that could be a well-justified a different universe movie to do, where you got a Robert Pattinson Batman, which is very different, not tied in, and then you could explore this other alternate version of Batman in the future, and then he has this apprentice, and someone else who's not Bruce Wayne is taking on the Batmantle, and that's the closest to, like, they reference Spider-Verse here. Think about that. Like, it's not Peter Parker as the main character, it's Miles Morales, but you have a Peter Parker as the mentor, so likening Spider-Verse to what they want to do with all their crazy Batman Batman movies, that would make the most sense. That's the one I most prefer. Is if he comes back for that, that would just be very exciting.
Well, and that's one of those rare opportunities you get too when, you know, Hollywood, you've seen him be the young Batman years ago.
Yeah.
And even in the Batman Beyond cartoon, it's like you had Kevin Conroy still voicing Batman after the classic run of the animated series. And so to be able to actually realize that physically for a Batman Beyond movie would be like tailored perfect to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be a missed opportunity not to do so, because also Batman Beyond, like, that's gonna get people's interest regardless.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's also untreadged live action territory. I really hope that's what they go for, because the rest just doesn't seem as perfect as that, and that's an issue to me. Also, we still got Ezra Miller. That whole backlash thing with him choking that lady is
No
just
one
dead.
cares. Everyone just cares about Batman.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that's how it feels, you know? I'm like, his name has popped up a few times in videos since that happened, and I'm like, we're not going to address this?
Look, John, unless he did blackface 10 years ago, nothing's
That's
happening
right.
today.
That's the new offense, and there's only one at a time. Not to tear the guy down, but you know, I'm a little curious about him.
It should have been addressed. I agree.
Yeah.
It should have been addressed. I'll still watch the fucking movie. But I am like, what happened there?
Yeah, what's up
You
here,
should have
buddy?
been addressed.
Well, maybe Michael Keaton will, you know, bring him around.
Yeah, maybe they'll cross over there into that moment.
That's how he'll
In
find
another
Terry
universe,
McGinnis.
you're an actor. Named Ezra Miller.
You're an actor, and you were choking this woman, and now I got to teach you about justice.
I don't know. We just set ourselves up to get canceled by joking about this.
Oh no.
Guys, should we be canceled? Subscribe to The Real Rejects. Which Batman do you want to show up in the Justice League movies? But people still want Batfleck.
I feel like there's a lot of love out there for Batfleck. I certainly wouldn't expect any backlash if he were to come back. He's the one agreeable part of BVS and Justice
Well,
League.
I think it's because we never got to have closure. And his Jimmy Kimmel appearance isn't satisfactory.
If he had done the appearance in the Batsuit.
All right, guys. Well, we'll catch you soon. Thank you, Emergency Awesome. Subscribe to Charlie's channel. Subscribe to us. Hit like buttons. And happy birthday, Mom. It's her birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday.